What's up, witches? Here we are with the sun battling in as usual. I choose this space obviously to get my work done because it's the perfect spot to get sunlight, but it's not so great for you all. So let's see if that will help. What's up, witches? Good morning. That's a little better. Good morning, good morning. Ooh, there we go. How are we? How are we, witches? Come on in the building. Let me know if you can see me, if you can hear me all right. What's up, witches? What's up? What's up? Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday Tips. Good morning. How we doing? I have a couple of things to share with you guys. We're going to get into today's topic. I am dropping a code for you guys right now. Because I am teaching my next free webinar, and you guys are not going to want to miss it. My next free webinar is going down on Black Friday, November 29th at 7:30 p.m. Okay. I already know you have the day off. All right. I already know you'll be done with your shopping. So I want us to really get serious about the fact that we have about 6 weeks until the end of this year. We have a whole new administration coming in here in the US. A lot of things are going to change for us in our lives, and we are all in a position where we can decide what we're going to do about it. And what I am going to do about it is do my absolute best to make sure that every witchpreneur, every tarot reader, crystal jewelry maker, energy healer knows how they can turn their gifts into a profitable business so that the changes that we experience in politics, in society, in the economy do not impact us in a negative way. I have a vision for the world. I want to see a world where spiritual healers and practitioners are able to take care of themselves. They're able to bring what they bring to their communities full time if they want to. Your doctor, your lawyer does not have to work a 9 to 5 in order to take care of you, in order to help you. And in my experience being a spiritual practitioner and engaging with people who are in various stages of life of need, and the things that they come to spiritual practitioners for, we do incredible work. We are incredibly, incredibly valuable. And when things like this current election happen, we see that. And I saw this before with COVID. When COVID hit, people all of a sudden really understood the value of the spiritual practitioners amongst them. They understood how important it was that there be somebody in the family, in the neighborhood, in the community who knew how to heal people with herbs. They saw how important it was to have somebody in the family, in the neighborhood, in the community that could get information from outside of themselves, from divine sources. They saw how important it was to have oracles, to have seers. They saw how important it was to have people who could provide energetic healing for the symptoms, problems, ailments that didn't seem to have a physical origin or a physical explanation, or that weren't responding to physical treatment. So during COVID, people really saw how important spiritual practitioners are. And there was a huge influx in relying on us and coming to us for services, and in some people even stepping into their callings as healers and practitioners themselves. And then life went back to normal, right? And as is often the case, we get kind of lazy, we get complacent, we get apathetic. And there were many, many, many healers and readers and practitioners that began to walk in their purpose and began to try to figure out how to bring what they bring to their communities in a way that still allows them to like pay their bills and pay rent, right? Because we're obviously still in a capitalist society, despite the fact that your favorite healer probably wants to like, live in a cabin in the woods. We don't all have that option. And trying to figure out how to sustain yourself financially, how to take care of yourself, how to build a business around the gifts that you have and the good that you want to do in the world, I can tell you from experience, is not something that comes with the purpose. Okay. This might be your calling. It might be the impact that you came to make in the world, but you don't necessarily show up on this earth with a business degree in your pocket, or with, a well connected auntie that can show you how to file your first LLC or things like that. There's a huge amount of learning and personal growth and personal responsibility that goes into creating a business in general, but certainly that goes into turning something like a spiritual gift or spiritual practice into a viable business. So I believe what happened is a lot of people, a lot of witches, kind of had to make the hard choice about like, do I keep going with this, or am I going to get scared and got to worry about my bills? So I got to jump back into my 9 to 5. And I think a lot of folks did that. And now a second bite of the apple is coming around. And I want you all to realize that if you're in that position, if you are one of those witches that I am talking about, that a second bite of the apple is being given to you. You are being given a second opportunity that perhaps you didn't take full advantage of during COVID. Life went back to normal, and you got distracted once again with the responsibilities of mundane life, the bills, all of that good stuff. But you have a second opportunity now. And it's my goal to help as many witches as possible so that they actually take advantage of this time. I wasn't in this place during COVID because I was doing my own learning. I opened my business during COVID. I started BronxWitch in 2019. I opened BronxWitch HeadQuarters in 2021. We're the Bronx's only co-working space for spiritual practitioners. We've been there for 3 years now. I'm very proud of that. But I had to spend all of that time from 2019 till now and continuing. I'm taking a webinar later today, actually at noon. So I am constantly learning, but during that time, it was really, really crunch time, right? That was a huge school of hard knocks type of introduction into business and learning about business. And so I couldn't help anybody at that point because I was figuring so much out for myself. But now that I've reached the place that I have with HQ, it's been a real passion for me, a real gift really for me to be able to help other witches that are also bringing good into their communities and capable of doing such good things with the business side of things. Okay, to streamline that for you so that you don't have to spend 4 years like I did taking every class, going to every concert, finding every mentor, every coach, being disappointed by a lot of them, buying every online class, having some of them be great, having some of them be really terrible, like all the trial and error that I have done over the last 5 years. You won't have to do that because I did it. And you can be a part of this community and absorb all of that knowledge and direction that not just I, but the other witchpreneurs that I am bringing together have to offer. So this is your second opportunity. And so for any witch that's hearing my voice that feels called to be a reader, that feels called to get deeper in your herbalism or called to heal people with energy, you're that person that people go to for guidance, for an encouraging word, to be uplifted. This is your second opportunity to get really serious about turning that into a business so that you do not have to fight between being of service to your community and going to work. They can be the same thing. you can bring them together. And you just need some guidance and some direction on that. And I am here to give it to you. And because I've been doing this for the last year or so, helping other entrepreneurs get their businesses going, I've started to see, trends and patterns that seem to apply to everybody. And one of them is that there are these 7, what I call pillars of profitability. There are these 7 areas in your business that need to be put into place. And depending on how far along you are with your business, what resources you have available, how you put them into place and what they look like might be different, but they absolutely 100% have to be there. Whether you are doing your readings and energy healing as what people would call a side hustle, you still have a job, or whether you have quit your job and you're doing it full time, or that's your ultimate goal, no matter where you are in terms of like the size of your operation, if you have these 7 pillars in place, your business is going to be profitable. What that means is you are going to make more than you spend to run it. And if you are not there, if you have already launched your business and something is not working, you feel like you're banging your head up against a wall, you're doing all the things that the classes that you have taken or that other people online appear to be doing, and yet somehow you are not booked, you are not busy, you are not waking up to orders, that is most likely because one or a few of those pillars either aren't in place or you're not really operating them properly. So I am super excited for this webinar that I'm going to be teaching at the end of the month on the 29th, called The 7 Pillars of a Profitable Spiritual Business. I'm going to break down what those 7 pillars are and what it looks like to have them in place and running properly. Okay. So I want absolutely every single one of you to make sure that you are at that webinar, because you are getting a second bite of the apple. Okay. You do not have to be on this, like, I don't even know what to call it, like a tug of war back and forth between work and your calling. The two things can go together if you know how to put them together in a way where you actually make revenue, you actually have clients and customers, so that you can sustain yourself and continue to offer that work to your community. So this is an opportunity for all of you that I really pray that each of you takes advantage of. So if you comment the word pillars, I will make sure to send you a link to the webinar. I don't think I've even put the link in my bio just yet. I've already had a few people register. I'm not even sure how they found it. I think they're just stalking the portal, which is a smart thing to do for new classes. But I've already got a few people registered for that. It is going down on the 29th. Yes, if you register, there will be a replay. There's always a replay, but only if you register. The webinar is only left up for a short period of time after it goes live for last minute scramblers. But if you have registered for the webinar, then you will have the replay available to you immediately and forever. It will live in your student dashboard on the HQ online portal. So even if you're not able to watch it for a couple of weeks, you will have it. But that will only be the case if you register. So make sure to register for this webinar. Learn what these 7 pillars are so that you can put them into place and either launch your spiritual business if you haven't gotten it started yet, or if you've gotten it started yet and it's not where you need it to be. So you can go and make an assessment and make sure you have all of these things in place. I can promise you, if things aren't going the way you want, it's because those pillars aren't in place, okay? So I want to see you all at the webinar. Now, who is in the room with me? We've got like 7 folks in the room with me. I want to hear from you. Say hi in the comments. Drop your name and business down below. Who are the witchpreneurs that are in the room with me right now? What do you do? Let us know who's here so we can follow you, we can connect with you, shout you out, all that good stuff. While I sip on my coffee. That almost didn't get made because I forgot to put coffee grinds in the coffee machine. I came back to a pot of hot water. I was like, wait a minute, something's missing here. But we figured it out. So who is in the building? Let me see our comments going by. What's up? What's up, witches? Who's in the building? What do you do? What's your business? Where do we follow you? What are you all about? Let us know. While you guys are dropping a line about who you are, I will also shout out all of my bunker witches. Yes, welcome to the bunker witches. Officially launched last week. We had a sort of soft opening. As soon as I got the idea, I immediately started putting it together and started letting people in. And we have 90 witches enrolled in the bunker right now. Shout out to the bunker witches for showing up. All of my Tuesday tips, by the way, the replay for all of them lives inside of the Tuesday tips feed in the bunker, which is something I decided to do so that you can easily binge all the Tuesday tips. I feel like back in the day, Instagram used to let us make like a playlist for our lives. Do you remember that? Did I make that up? Was that a thing? There was a playlist for our lives. And that allowed us to like just scroll through, and find lives of a certain topic. I don't think they do that anymore. So I made a feed in the bunker for Tuesday tips. So if you ever miss them, or if there was information in one that you didn't jot down that you wanted to refresh, there is a feed in the bunker. If you're a bunker witch, definitely drop your construction lights and cones, your bunker emoji. I'm calling this the bunker emoji. Can y'all see that? So that's the bunker emoji. I'm going to post it over here too so y'all can see it. Because when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. This is the vibe. Okay, I think I can throw this up on the screen. Yes, do you see that? Oh, that's cute. So we're using the construction like cone and lights emoji for the bunker. It's so perfect because that is the vibe. The bunker is the safe space. It's the construction zone that is all good. Okay. This is a place where you can come and grow regardless of what your stage of business is. This is a virtual space for highly motivated witchpreneurs, okay? Whether you have an idea that you're thinking about launching or you've already been offering reading services, etc., for some time, this is a place for us to come together. It is vibrant, it is dynamic. There are already free resources in there, great recommendations in there, tickets to free networking events, updates on the networking events, because the one I'm having this week has two special guests that I'm really excited about, that are going to be presenting to us and making sure that we are ready in our financial plans, in our professional plans for 2025. Our weekly refuel sessions kick off this week with the first one on Friday at 10 p.m. We're going to be doing that every week, meeting together in order to refuel. Go over the week, get some education, get some tips and tricks for how to make the next week better, to make the next week more profitable, to reach more people in the next week. And those have already been scheduled. So the bunker is lit. The bunker is popping. Super excited to see all the witches that are coming in and announcing themselves in the roster section of the discussion feed, introducing themselves, sharing their business. But this isn't just a space just for the traditional witchpreneur. It's not a space just for tarot readers and energy healers, because as someone who has built a business over many years, there are things that you need as an entrepreneur to create and run your business that are not necessarily connected to knowing other, spiritual small business owners. You need accountants, you need bookkeepers, you need web designers, you need virtual assistants, you need financial planners, you need business attorneys, trademark attorneys, etc. So, what makes me really proud about the bunkers, I've been able to leverage my own network of people that I have connected with over these last 5 years, professionals that either I've met as peers or who I've hired myself, or who have hired me. And so, having this network of professionals is great because the bunker is part witches and witchpreneurs and part people that can help us with our businesses. I really wanted that to be like the community that we have. So not just a bunch of witchpreneurs running around like chickens with their heads cut off trying to figure stuff out, but the professionals that we can hire that we can learn from. So the first business professional that is a member of the bunker who we're going to hear from on Friday in our first weekly refuel session is Courtney Evelyn. She is a tax strategist. She is licensed to file taxes in all 50 states. And she's a real like person, a real relatable, approachable person. And she was recently posting some really candid pictures and clips of like tax liens and threats of tax liens that she received as a result of being behind in her own taxes. So she's someone that not only understands the tax code and how it can benefit us, but she knows what it's like to get into tax trouble or have bumps in the road when trying to figure out your taxes as a self-employed person. So she's going to talk to us in our first weekly refuel session about some important things for us to know as we wrap up the year so that we end on a strong foot and we're in a good spot tax wise. So just from the first refuel session, I am like so pumped up about being able to bring these two worlds together, the business professionals that help us launch and run our businesses and other witchpreneurs who get what you're going through and can support you or can themselves share knowledge. So the bunker's dope. Super proud of it. Absolutely love it. Gonna be in there right after this to update Tuesday tips and to share some more information about the special guest coming to the networking mixer on Thursday. So definitely get up in the bunker if you haven't yet. If you comment bunker anywhere, I will send you the information to get in there. That link is in the link in my bio, so you can also go there if you have any questions about what the bunker is all about and if it is right for you. All right. I don't see any comments. I don't know if my comments are working. Will someone comment something just to let me know? I see my comment, but I don't see anyone else's. So I just want to make sure I'm not ignoring people. And if you are a spiritual business owner, a witchpreneur, if you are somebody thinking about turning your spiritual gift into a business for yourself, drop your information down below so we can shout you out, so we can follow you and get to know you and all that good stuff. But somebody let me know. I want to make sure you can hear me, see me, all that good stuff. And then we're going to get in today's topic, which, if you don't know, is not a topic that I choose myself. At the end of our lives, I go to Spirit and pull cards to ask for direction about what we need to talk about. And so that tells me that this collective, whether it's the witchpreneurs in the room right now or the witchpreneurs that will watch this on a replay, but that this is what you needed to hear today. This is what you needed to learn more about or focus your attention on today. And today's message is listen, specifically listening to your intuition. And it's really interesting because this question is one that really overlaps with the two communities of witches that I help. BetterWitch Coaching is a coaching platform that doesn't just help entrepreneurs. I also help witches on their journeys, baby witches becoming better witches, as I say, with classes and coaching programs from them. All of that is on YouTube and in the online portal if you'd like to learn more about magic and the craft. And so this question about intuition comes up quite a bit with my BetterWitch magic students. So it's really interesting having it come up for my business students, my witchpreneurs, because there is such a deep overlap when it comes to spiritual work. You know, our work is a little bit different. We're not just selling like sponges at the hardware store. There's a spiritual component to what we do. Honestly, I think there's a spiritual component to anything, everyone does, but not everyone is necessarily paying attention. So I won't take the time to speak to those who have no concern for their intuition or whatever. I'm just talking to my witchpreneurs, my witches that are already spiritual. You already have that type of a practice. You already have an understanding that there is such a thing as your intuition, that there is an energetic version of yourself that is speaking to you and that is passing on messages from the divine, giving you signs, symbols, instructions, etc., that you often feel in your body, but don't necessarily know how to trust, don't necessarily know if you can rely on it. And that is the case whether you plan on starting a business or not. As a spiritual individual, you are paying attention to that little voice inside, and where you might be struggling is with listening to it. And that was today's message from Spirit, to talk about how to listen. And I have some thoughts on that. But before I proceed, because I definitely want to make sure that we're all good, I don't see your comments. So I don't know if you're with me. I think so. I can see that there are like 8 people in here right now. So I'll give another second for a comment to come up. If you are watching, if you could comment. Let me hide this. And just let me know that everything is okay. Nothing is scrolling for me. So I just want to make sure that we're not frozen, etc. Otherwise, I can go out and start over. But I want to make sure we're all good. Let me see, actually. I have so many devices, which can be overwhelming, but at times like this is actually very helpful. Make a wish for. Let me see if I can see myself. Okay, yeah, it says I'm live. All right, let's see if there are comments here. Okay, there are comments. Okay, cool. So I just can't see them. Okay. What's up, Terrell? Hello. Hi, Mystic Moon Tarot. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, I just can't see them. No worries. As long as I'm there, you know I'm here. We're all good. So listening to your intuition. What the does that even mean? That obviously gets said so much. But what does that actually mean? What in the world is your intuition, and how do you listen to it, especially when it comes to something like starting or running a business? Because when you're starting or running a business, most folks, most of the non-spiritual folks are, I won't say that they're not plugged into their intuition, because you actually hear them talking about it quite a bit. But there are obviously practical concerns and information on paper that someone who is business minded is going to be paying attention to. And they're not necessarily going to ignore that information or want to ignore that information. So, trusting or listening to your intuition as a spiritual entrepreneur can sometimes get a little bit tricky, because what's on paper, I would say oftentimes, doesn't match what your intuition is telling you about the next step for you to take. And how do you know when you should be listening to that inner voice versus what's on paper? So, that inner voice, how do I describe it? In my BetterWitch Magic Intensive, we spend the first 2 modules really diving into what I call the true self, your energetic self. And this is the analogy that I've come up with, which is like, just bear with me, because I heard it somewhere And then I like modified it based on what I understand. And so hopefully it makes sense to you. But the way Spirit's kind of shown me who we are and what we are and how we relate to the world is that when we are born, the moment we are born, imagine that there is just just a cosmic ocean. There's nothing in the ocean, there's no land masses, there's just the shore where the sand is, and then infinite ocean. This infinite ocean represents everything in existence, the entire universe, and also all the things that don't exist, weirdly enough, the no things. All things are in this cosmic ocean. And the moment that you are born, you are scooped out of that cosmic ocean. Imagine somebody goes and gets a cup and scoops it out of the ocean. We are what has been scooped out of the ocean, and we have a tendency to identify with the cup because that's the part that we can see and that others can see. That's the part that can interact with this physical world around us more readily. And so we think of ourselves as the cup. But the truth is, we're actually the ocean. You are the ocean. You are all possibility in the cosmos. The energy inside of you is taken from the divine, it comes from something much larger. And so, this is one of the reasons why your birth chart, if you've ever pulled it and read it, is so accurate. How is that possible? Well, because it's a barometer, a measurement of what was in the ocean when you got scooped out of it. Was it a cloudy day? Was it a stormy day? Was there an oil dump nearby? Was a school of small fish going by? When that cup was scooped out of the ocean, what was happening in the ocean at that moment had an impact on you because you were scooped out at that moment. Your intuition is the vibration of the ocean water inside of that cup. If you've ever taken like a conch shell away from the beach and listened to it, you might notice that you can still hear the ocean, even though it's not near the ocean anymore and there's no water left in it. That's what's happening inside of your cup. The ocean is still speaking. The ocean is still shifting. The ocean still contains all possibilities and all information, and you are still connected to it. It's just that we have a tendency to forget that because we focus on our physical and we focus on the cup. Listening to your intuition is the practice of listening to that echo of the ocean inside of you. And what the ocean is saying and the state that the ocean is in might not exactly be the same as the messages you're getting from the other cups on the beach or that you're telling yourself, etc. So, first, can we wrap our minds around that? What the intuition is? That your intuition is the echo of the voice of the ocean that you were scooped out of. It is all of the universe kind of speaking a cosmic language, and it's accessible right within yourself. Does that make sense? Drop of the ocean and the ocean within a drop. I love that. Absolutely. Every drop that's inside of you contains everything that is in that ocean. So if you've ever wondered, like, what exactly is my intuition anyway? That's how I would describe it. Listening to your intuition requires mindfulness, stillness. And that was the message that was on our card from Spirit to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the act of being present in the moment. You're mindful all the time by accident. You might be dancing, or you might be cleaning your house, or you might just be laying in bed before getting up with your day. Anytime when your mind is not focusing on the past or focusing on the future, anytime when your mind is literally just right here, right now in this moment, whether it's because you're doing a task or you're just able to just be present for a second, you are being mindful. Now, meditation is a mindfulness practice, but it's not the only way to be present in the moment. But it is, of course, a very effective way, and it is one of my preferred ways. That's why I became a 100-hour certified meditation coach. It's why I teach a class on meditation, or several classes on meditation, which you can find at the BronxWitch HeadQuarters online portal if you're interested in learning more about meditation and being guided through it. But however you do it, meditation is one of the most widely used practices to establish mindfulness, but it's not the only way. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you go about practicing mindfulness. The only thing that matters is that you do it, and that what is happening is that your mind is present in the moment. So if you are struggling with things that have happened in your past, you're still overcoming them, or whether you're focusing on the future, you have anxiety about the groceries or what you're going to do an hour from now or what have you, you are not being mindful because you're not present in the moment. So, in order to listen to your intuition, in order to listen to that almost silent whisper of a voice inside of you, the sound of the ocean inside of you, you're going to need to be mindful, be present in the moment. Sadness, frustration, regret, guilt of the past, anxiety, fear, etc. about the future, these are all voices that scream at the top of their lungs. They scream in your body. They literally pump chemicals. Your brain pumps chemicals into your bloodstream in order to make you run away from things that are scary or dwell on things that are upsetting. And none of that is serving you. All of those voices screaming are drowning out the quiet hum of the ocean voice inside of you. So being present is the only way to really hear that voice, quieting the screaming of the past and of the future, and just sitting in the present is the most effective way to hear what your intuition is actually telling you. So, boom, now we know what our intuition is. 2, we know how to listen to it. We need to develop mindfulness, which is something that like doesn't necessarily take a long time. You can do this for 5 minutes in a day, and it will begin to have a huge impact on your ability to just do it generally. But practicing mindfulness so that you sit in stillness to hear that voice. And then the final component is trusting your intuition. And I have a thought about this that is probably like unpopular, or at least I've never heard any other practitioners talk about it this way. Okay. Um, People are often talking about trusting your intuition and seem to be fairly stressed out about the idea that they don't. And I want to tell you that that's okay. It's actually okay to not trust your intuition. Most spiritualists and like witches online do not talk like this. Usually the perspective is like, okay, well, this is what you have to do to learn how to trust your intuition. I think that trust is earned. Trust is earned, whether it's trust from a person, trust from yourself, trust is earned. Okay. Um, I don't want you to trust your intuition if it has not proven to be accurate and reliable. I wouldn't want you to trust anybody until they have proven that. Now, having faith is different. Faith is the other side of the coin. Faith is what we have before something has been proven to us. Okay. So you hired somebody you've never worked with before. You're stepping out on faith that they're going to do a good job. When they actually do the good job, now you can trust that that's what they do. So there are two sides of the same coin, but faith is what we exercise when we don't know for sure, when we haven't been proven something and we can't trust it. And trust is what comes on the other side of that person or that thing coming through and being reliable, being accurate, giving us what we expected. Now we can trust it. So if you don't trust your intuition, I am here to tell you that's okay. That is okay. Now, what you want to do is you want to give your intuition the opportunity to show up for you. You want to give it the opportunity to be accurate. And if you were able to look back over your life for every time your intuition spoke to you and you listened and it proved to be exactly right, you would have a nice long list and you would realize that you actually can trust your intuition. You just haven't been paying attention in an intentional way before. So I want you to start doing that. One of the most effective ways is just to record it. Okay. And you don't have to be a journal person, sitting by the fireside, writing, pages every night. You could literally pull out your phone and start a note in your phone about trusting your intuition. And every time you get that gut feeling, every time you hear that little voice that seems to be telling you something, especially if it's telling you something that's different from what other people are telling you or what is on paper looks like the right choice, anytime you do that, make a note of it and then see what happens. Spoiler, it's going to be fine. Your intuition is not ever wrong. But don't take my word from it, for it. Don't trust me. Experiment. Actually give your intuition the opportunity to come through for you and then see what happens. Step out on faith. Don't trust your intuition if it hasn't proven itself worthy of that. It hasn't earned your trust yet. But step out on faith. Have faith that your intuition is, in fact, the voice of the divine. Have faith that your intuition is, in fact, the ocean and all of its cosmic possibilities. Have faith that you can hear it. Have faith that you will be rewarded for listening to it. And take a chance. Let it prove itself worthy. And then once it has, then trusting your intuition is not something you ever have to work on. It's not something you ever have to try to do. I don't try to trust the people in my life. They've shown up for me. They've proven themselves to be reliable. And so I'm simply able to trust them. And you will get to the same point with your intuition when it comes through for you. All right, witches. Let me know if that makes sense. That's kind of a lofty concept, intuition and, all of these things that we can't actually see, we can't necessarily hear with our physical ears. So it can be a little, philosophical, I guess would be the word, or a little abstract. Maybe abstract is the word. It can be a little abstract. So let me know if that makes sense. Oh, I have to look over here. I realized the other day that I want to take out all of our messages that we've already had, because it will be really cool to get down to the end of this deck. I'd love to see how spirit leads us through our individual and shared goals and journeys. I want to make sure I remember them all. We've had 5 Tuesday tips already, I think, which is incredible. Okay. Any thoughts on trusting your intuition? or what intuition is? Is anybody struggling with that concept before we pull a message from the cards about next week? While you guys are sharing any thoughts or any questions about listening to your intuition, I will remind you that I am teaching my 7 pillars of a profitable spiritual business webinar on Friday, September 29th at 7:30 p.m. If you are launching your spiritual business, or if you have started your spiritual business and you don't have as many customers, clients, or reach as you expected, in this webinar, I'm going to tell you why that is. And if you're just getting started, I'm going to tell you how to do it right the first time. There are 7 pillars that need to be in place if you want to be generating revenue from your spiritual gifts. And I'm going to teach you those in the webinar. You can comment pillars anywhere and you can register. Totally free webinar. And if you are looking for a community of highly motivated witchpreneurs to learn from, connect with, meet up with weekly, meet up with in person, get educational information with, then you want to join the bunker. This is our safe space where we are hunkering down to get ourselves in a strong financial position to prepare for this new administration that is coming in. Okay. So comment bunkers anywhere or click the link in my bio to join us in that space. Really, really active space already. Okay, listen, prioritize, automate, muse, set goals, and rejuvenate. Okay, I think we've had 6 Tuesday tips. So holler back. We are putting in the work. Okay, hopefully the comments have installed on my phone. I don't see any. Let me go out and in real quick just to make sure. I don't want to leave anybody. I don't want to leave anybody in the dust. But if you ever want to speak with me one-on-one, you always can. I do offer consultations. You can go to my website to find those, or you can simply comment "help me" anywhere on this page, and I will be right there. All right, let's see. What does Spirit want this collective of witchpreneurs to learn about, talk about, focus on next week? Oh, how perfect for this platform. Where are we? Let's see that. The sun is low. Oh, there we go. Okay. Can you see that? Entertain. Yes. Your brand should educate and entertain your clients. You want to make them smile, make them laugh, feel great when they interact with you and your brand. I definitely want to talk about this one because this is a challenge that many of us face when it comes to social media, right? It seems like it's all a bunch of like TikTok dances and all of that good stuff. And that is not something that many of us are comfortable with. That's not really our vibe. And I find that to be particularly the case with spiritual practitioners. We're not necessarily like the goofiest bunch, but there is a way to be entertaining, and there's a without being goofy, and there's a, what do I want to call it, like a spectrum of entertainment depending on the platform that you're on. And this is like a huge game changer for those of you that are using social media to market yourself, your services, and your products. Understanding the platforms that you're on are absolutely super, super key. You do not need to be on every platform. In fact, you should not. You should be on one platform. one platform for what it is that you offer. You can have a presence in other places, but there should be one platform that you are focusing on, and you should choose that platform based on what it is particularly good at and what you're trying to bring to the world. Okay. So, Instagram, for example, is great for infotainment. Okay. It is great for little nuggets of education that make people feel like they learned something that was delivered in a way that was easy and enjoyable to watch. Quick, dynamic, attention getting, etc. Infotainment. People watch Instagram instead of watching the news, and they pretend like they know stuff, right? um, and people like that. They want to watch something for 30 seconds and feel like, okay, I got it. I learned that thing. Now I can go repeat it into the world. So that's what Instagram is particularly good at. And if you have something that doesn't translate into that, then another platform might be better for you. And how entertaining you are is going to be dependent on what makes sense for that format. So we will definitely get into this. And I'm excited to get into this because I feel like a lot of the topics we've had up until now has been about mindset, has been about things like mindfulness, has been about, prioritizing our schedules and balancing rest and work. And it feels like Spirit's getting us more into some technical stuff, which is great. So next week, we are going to talk about entertaining, how you can educate and entertain your clients. I'm going to share some of the practices that I use, some of the thoughts that I have on how you can best do that. Because it's important. Got to fight through the noise. We're spiritual practitioners, but we're living in, the real world, right? The world with everybody else. And so we've got to navigate these platforms and navigate these spaces. We have to know as much about finance and AI and social media as any other business owner. The fact that we are spiritual practitioners does not change that. So this is an important one for us to talk about. We will talk about that next week. I am very excited about it. You know where to find me. I am in the bunker. You can click the link in my bio to join us. I'm so excited for Friday's session. We're going to get to know each other, but also have a brief presentation from tax strategist Courtney Evelyn. I'm also super excited about my spiritual small business networking mixer on Thursday. Two incredible special guests, CEO and a financial advisor, are going to be talking to us about some important considerations for the end of the year. Tickets are still available to that, by the way, and check my stories for that. And yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Blessed be.